you. My name is Ashutosh Rastogi, and today in this particular lecture, we will going to discuss about introduction to digital systems as well as number systems. So these are the outlines. We're going to start up with the introduction. Then we're going to discuss what is the motivation behind. Then we will going to discuss digital systems and the binary numbers. Then we will discuss analog as well as digital signals, which will be followed by the binary digital signals. Then we will going to discuss about several number systems such as your decimal number system, octal number system, binary number system, and your hexadecimal number systems. And finally, we will going to conclude by discussing some of the arithmetic operations on the binary numbers such as your addition, subtraction, etc. So digital systems. So what are digital systems? In the present area, if we talk about, we are all around with several digital systems. So digital systems concerned with the interconnection among digital components and the modules. So if we talk about the best digital system example is our general purpose computers. Obviously we all are aware of that, and we can perform several general purpose tasks with the help of laptops or desktops. So these are the examples of your digital systems. Then logic design. It is the basis over which our digital systems will going to get functional. So how they will going to build up and how they will going to process that, obviously there has to be certain logic design. So it deals with the basic concepts and tools used to design the digital hardware, which consists of your logical circuits to perform arithmetic operations such as your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. So basically all these your digital systems would have been composed of this smaller logic uh, circuits that we have discussed. So what is digital signal? Digital signals generally have finite amount of amplitude value, and they would have been very difficult to represent the decimal values in electrical systems. It is easier to use two voltage values than of 10. Obviously, since we are talking about finite values of voltages, so in our digital signal, we are forming such as high value of the signal or low value of signal. So we are only signifying only two voltage levels. So that is why we are calling them as your binary signals that we will going to discuss in the later section. So digital signals have the two basic states. So here we are only discussing about your binary digital signals, which only consists of two states. Otherwise, there also exists different AMERI signaling schemes where they can have multiple states. But in your binary sort of digital system, binary sort of digital signals, we only having high value of voltage or low value of voltage. So one is actually representing logic high, or it would have been represented as your H, or we could say that it is representing your on state, whereas 0 is representing logic low, or it would have been represented with this particular symbol L, or we could say that it is basically representing the off state. So digital values in a binary format, binary 2 means two states. This is what we have already discussed, that since these signals will only having two states, that is why we are calling them is your binary. So a good example of binary is light, that it could only operate in two modes, that is either light is on or off. So it is on, then we will going to provide them or consider them as logic high or on state, and if it is off, then we could consider them as your logic low state. So it could simply be considered as your switch, which only operates in two modes, that is either on or off state. So power switches have the label 1 for on and 0 for off. So this is how we are representing our binary signals. So what is the motivation behind to learn or study this digital signals or digital systems? So if we look around us, we'll be having several machineries or systems which are operating on these digital systems. But wherever we look about, whether we are talking about your internet, your mobile communication system, or your machineries that would have been used in your operation theaters. So doctors that are using, that is digital machinery. So obviously, if we talk about some certain automatic system or which could perform certain controlation operation, so here microprocessor or microelectronics have revolutionized our world. So how they actually revolutionized? They would have been used in your cell phone, internet, rapid advances in medicines, etc. That it has shown in the near in these pictures. So obviously this controlation operation or this automated operation would have been supported with the help of these your microprocessors. So the semiconductor industry has grown tremendously since with the evolvement of VLSI, the size of the digital devices would have been diminished much and they could perform so many tasks. So in the present state, if we talk about digital age, or it is the area of your information age, where all the devices would have been generating your digital signals. So since devices are generating certain information, then we have to store. So if we talk about different sort of devices which are generating digital signal, that is your digital computers. So in your digital computers, we could say your your general purpose computer systems, which would have been used for various general purpose tasks such as your watching movies, check out your stock quotes, accessing internet. There are so many general purpose things that could have been performed with the help of your general purpose systems such as your laptops or desktops. They could also digital computers would have also been used in certain specific tasks such as your many scientific applications, industrial applications, as well as your commercial applications. So these tasks are specific that would have been performed any specific sort of computation, such as if we talk about we need to give the information about weather forecast. So this is your scientific application and we need specific supercomputers which can perform such sort of specific application. So what are the various examples of your digital systems? These are your telephone switching exchanges, your digital camera, electronic calculators, or you could say your PDAs, digital TVs. These are some of the examples of your digital systems. And obviously all these digital systems would have been composed of or made of several different logical devices, or you could say your subsystems. So with the combination of all those logics and digital circuits, we are actually framing this composite bigger digital systems. So discrete information, these are basically your discrete information processing systems. So basically what are they have to manipulate the discrete elements of information. For example, we could say that those symbols that would have been used as your 1 2 3, or you could say your ABC, whatever, or different other symbols. So basically signal would have been represented with this sort of information and such as different symbols, as we have discussed that either it is your 1 2 3, it is your number systems, or you could say that symbols such as your alphabetical ABC, and we have to manipulate the information that would have been mapped on these symbols. So basically digital systems are something which will going to process the information. So now let us take a close look about your analog as well as the digital signal. So if we talk about your analog signal, so we can say that it is continuous in nature. That is, if we closely observe this particular figure, we can say that analog signal is continuous in nature. That is, at almost all the time intervals, we will be having some information available about the signal. So this would have been this is the example of your analog signal. Whereas if we closely observe about this particular figure, this is your digital signal, or we could say that it is your discrete signal. That is, at all the timing instances, signal value is not always present. It is only present at certain interval of times. So this is the example of your discrete signals, or you could say your digital signals. So basically demarcation is quite clear about your discrete signal and the digital signals. Obviously if you're talking about your discrete signals or digital signals, we will be talking about certain finite amplitude levels. So here in this particular example we have multiple amplitude levels. But generally, since we are dealing with your binary communication systems, we will be only focusing over the signal amplitude level that contains only two levels, that is your high or low. But generally this sort of signal is example of your discrete signals. So then your analog systems, so what are they? So the physical quantities or signals may vary continuously over the specified range. So your analog signal is the physical quantities or signal that may vary continuously over the specified range. Obviously here we are talking about your timing. So in this particular figure, on the x-axis we will be having time, and on the y-axis we will be having amplitude. So this particular figure is actually showing the time varying amplitude. That means the amplitude of the signal is varying with time, and it is continuous in nature. So this is basically representing your analog signal, whereas the physical quantities or the signals assume only discrete values. So this particular second figure is representing your digital signals. So digital signals is having better accuracy than your analog signals. So this particular slide is actually showing the comparative analysis between the analog as well as the digital. So if we talk about the technology, so analog technology records waveforms as they are. It does not feel going to modify whatever signal waveform is representing continuous nature waveform, it records as they are. So whereas in your digital systems, it converts analog waveforms into the set of numbers and records them. So the number are converted into voltage streams for representation. Since it is not continuous, it is discrete in nature. So we need to convert or approximate our continuous signal value into the discrete levels. So if we talk about the uses, it can be used in various computing platforms and under operating systems such as your Linux, Unix, Mac OS and Windows, etc. Whereas your digital communication system, whereas in the in its digital part, it would have been used in your computer as well as electronics. So signaling point of view, so analog signal is continuous signal which transmits information as a response to changes in physical phenomena, whereas digital signals are discrete time signals generated by the digital modulation. So with the help of A to D converter, we are basically converting our analog signal into the digital. So if we talk about its representation, so it uses continuous range of values to represent the information as we had seen in the last slide. Whereas the representation of digital signals, it uses discrete or discontinuous values to represent the information. So memory unit, it is not required in your analog, whereas in digital it is required. So the applications of analog such as your thermometer, since it is generating continuous sort of temperature signal, whereas the example or applications of your digital such as your signal generated by your PC or personal digital assistants, etc. So if we talk about its data transmission capability, not of high quality, whereas in your digital systems we will be having some high data transmission quality. So the results is not very accurate, whereas in digital systems we are getting much accurate data. So storage capacity is limited in analog, whereas it is high, such as we will be having certain sort of hard disk, pen drives or flash devices, etc. So or we could say your CDs, DVDs. So the storage capacity is much higher in your digital systems. So if we talk about the processes, processed with the help of op-amp, operational amplifier, which uses electronic circuits, whereas digital informations that would have been processed with the help of using microprocessors, which uses logic circuits. So we need to only focus about your logic circuits throughout this curriculum structure. So response to noise, if we compare the response in respect to your noise, they are more likely to get affected, reducing the accuracy. So obviously the performance of analog signal is limited, whereas your digital systems, they are basically less affected since the noise response are analog in nature, or in general you could say that digital signals are less affected by the noise in comparison to analog signal. So waves it would have been denoted with the help of sine waves, and your digital signals would have been denoted by your square waves, or you could say that your high value of pulse or low value of pulse. So example is human voice in air is example of your analog signal, whereas the example of your digital signals are your electronic devices, the signal generated by your electronic devices that would have been considered as your digital, such as your mobile phone, laptops, etc. So now we will going to continue our discussion over your binary digital signals. Since we had discussed in our earlier slide, we have seen the example of your discrete signal, but since we had already mentioned that we throughout in this particular curriculum we will be discussing about your binary digital signals, that is they would only going to have two voltage levels, two signal levels. So we will discuss, or we will going to take a closer look about your binary digital signals. So information variable represented by the physical quantity. So physical quantity or signal you could say. So for digital systems, the variable takes on discrete values. So it could only take these two discrete values, that is either high or low. So as it would have been mentioned that it can only have two levels or binary values. Why we are calling them binary? Just because it is having two voltage levels are the most prevalent values. So the binary values are represented abstractly by digits zeros and one, or you could say that words or symbols. You could say that true or false. True means ones, false means zero, or you could say that true means high and false means low. Words or symbols, that is your low and high, and words on and off. So this basically high and low values of signals would have been considered as a sort of switching operation. So that is why this terms comes into picture, that is on or off. So on means high value of signal we are talking about, and off means low value of the signal we are talking about. Or you could say that your on, high, true and 1, they are representing the same stuff, whereas 0, false, low and off, they are representing the same states. So binary values are represented by the values or range of the values of the physical quantities. So if we closely observe this particular figure about the voltage with respect to time, so this particular plot would have been framed with respect to voltage as well as time. So as we had already discussed that we are talking about your binary digital signal, so it could only having two voltage values, that is high and low. So this is representing basically two voltage levels, that is high and low. So how we will going to demarcate that when we will going to get this high value or high voltage or high logic, on when we will going to get this logic low or low value of the signal, or we could say that your off state. So it is having the high value of voltage, that is your, suppose it is your Vt. So here it is representing your Vt. So here it is representing your voltage V, and this is your 0. So if we closely observe that the signal, the complete voltage level we have divided into three amplitude levels, that is your 1 and this is your 2. So if your signal level is lying below this particular amplitude level, then we will going to demarcate them as your logic low, and if your signal is lying above this particular voltage point, then we could say that, we can easily say that we will be having logic high or signal high value of the signal. If the signal is lying in between these two values, so this is undefined state, that is we cannot strictly say that whether it is representing logic high or logic low. So these two are basic valid states, that is your this is representing your low value of signal and this is representing your high value of the signal. So this is the demarcation or representation of your binary digital signal. So please do not get confused about this particular figure. Here you could say that you can only having two voltage levels, that is either high or either low. But when you will going to pass this digital information, so at the receiving side, you will not going to get the exact same amount of voltage, you will get little bit diminished amount of voltage. And at the receiving side you need to check it out whether the transmitted signal is at logic high or at logic low. So since its amplitude will get diminished, so you need to appropriately specify that which logic level you are talking about. So that is why we have said that if suppose this is your 5 volt value it is representing, and it is your 3 volt, it is your 1 volt. So if at the receiving side your received signal strength is lying between 0 and 1 volt, then you can easily say that logic 0 or low value of the signal would have been transmitted. And if it is lying between 3 to 5, then you can easily or with complete demarcation you can say that logic high was transmitted. And if your received signal is lying between 3 and 1, then it is undefined, and you cannot specifically say that with exact or you could say that, or with accuracy you can say that whether the transmitted digital signal was at logic high or logic low. So this basically representing that sort of scenario. So now we are going to discuss about your number systems. So decimal number systems, we all know about it. So here are certain key terms that we need to know about your numbers. So number one is your base, which is also called as radix. So basically base or radix is representing how many different number of digits any number system can use. So if we talk about your decimal number systems, so its base is 10. It's basically signifying that we could use 10 different digits to represent that digit. So it would have been basically using 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are different symbols that would have been used by your decimal number systems. Then this particular question is showing your digit position, so which is demarcating your integer value as well as the fraction value. So fraction value you could say that your decimal value. So here we should put a point which is representing the decimal value. So left side is your complete integer numbers, and at the right side you will be having your decimal values. So these are basically your digital positions. So this is representing 0th position, this is representing your first position, this is your second position, and in a similar manner it is representing your -1 position, and this is representing your as your -2 position. So this particular point is showing your digital weight. So basically digital weight would have been calculated as the base to the power of digit position. So if we closely observe that this particular positional digital weight, what will be the weight of this particular position, then in your decimal number systems, the radix will be having the value of radix is your 10, and 10 to the power 0 will be having this 1. In the similar manner, if we talk about this position, so this is your 0th position, this is your first position. So the weight of this particular position value would have been given as 10 to the power 1, which is equivalent to your 10. And in the similar manner, this is your second position, and the weight of this particular position would have been given as your 10 to the power 2, that is your 100. So the digit weights is representing like this. And in the same fashion, if we talk about the digital weight of these positions, so this position is represented by 10 to the power this position is represented by -1, and the weight of this position would have been given as 10 to the power -1, that is equivalent to 0.1. And in the similar manner, this weight would have been given as your 10 to the power -2, that is your 0.01. So how we will going to calculate the magnitude? So the magnitude or the exact magnitude of all the digits would have been calculated as sum of the digits into weight. So what do you mean by that? So we just take a simple example. Suppose this value would have been written as 512.74. So how we will going to calculate this value with the help of digits, positions, magnitude? How we will going to calculate the magnitude, basically I wanted to say. So if we how we will going to calculate the magnitude? Magnitude is the sum of digits into weight. So how we will going to evaluate that? So this here we will be having number as 2. So 2 into, so 2 is the digit and what is the weight of this? Weight is 1, so we'll be having this 2. And what will be the weight of this first place? Its weight is 10 and its digit is 1, so 1 into 10, so we are left with your 10. And in the similar manner, the position is 2 and its weight turns out to be 100, and its magnitude would have been calculated as your digit into its weight, that is 5 times of 100, that is equivalent to 500, and then we need to add up all those stuff. So this particular operation would have been denoted by this particular formal notation, that d2 is representing the digit, and this b square basically representing its you could say your weight. B basically here B is representing your radix. So this is how we will going to evaluate the complete valuation, and in the similar manner we could easily understand that how decimal values would have been calculated. So here the digit is 7 and its weight is 0.1, so that turns out to be 0.7, and in the similar manner the digit value here is your 4 and its weight is 0.01, so this is your 0.04. So when we will going to add up all those stuff, we are left with 512.74 to the base 10. So this is how we are representing your decimal number systems. So in the similar manner, we will going to have our another number system, that is your octal number system. So in the similar manner as we have discussed in your decimal number system, octal number system, octal means 8, so it means its base is 8. So what is signifying that it can use 8 distinct number of symbols, and those symbols are your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could say that 8 different digits. So or what are those 8 different digits? 0 to 7. So here again in the similar manner as we have discussed in our decimal number system, weight would have been calculated as base to the power of position. So in this particular case, if we talk about, so here base is 8 and its position is 1, sorry, and its position is 0. So how we will going to evaluate its weight? 8 to the power 0, that is equal to 1. And in the similar manner, what will be the weight of this first position? 8 to the power 1. So this position's weight is your 8, and what about this particular position? Its weight is 8 to the power 2, that is 8 8 is 64. So this positional weight turns out to be your 64. In the similar manner, this position is given as your minus 1. So 8 to the power minus 1, that is equal to 1 by 8. So its weight turns out to be your 1 by 8. So this blue color basically signifying what weights we will going to have at different positional values of our digits. And in the similar manner, this particular position of minus 2 will be having the weight of 1 over 64. So now how we will going to calculate the magnitude? So we will going to apply the similar structure or similar formula. We will going to multiply this digit with its weight, that is your 5 times of 64. We will be having 5 into 8 square plus digits value, its value is 1, with its weight a to the power 1 plus its digit get multiplied with a to the power 0 plus 7 into a to the power minus 1 plus 4 into a to the power minus 2. So this whole scenario will exactly same, this process is exactly same as we have discussed in our decimal number systems. So the magnitude would have been calculated with this particular structure. So 64 times of 5 plus 8 times of 1 plus 2 times of 1 plus 7 times of 1 upon 8 plus 4 times of 1 over 64. So the addition, when we will going to perform this arithmetic operation, we will going to get this, we will going to get its weight. So now next is your binary number systems. So since in binary number systems we will be having only 2 digits, that is 0 and 1, that is only 2 digits we can use. So here the value of base is 2, and 2 digits that would have been used in your binary number systems, that is your 0 and 1, and they are called your binary digits, or you could say your bits. So the weight, again weight calculation will going to be done with the help of same formula as we have discussed in your last slide. that is your base to the power of position. So if we will again going to discuss some of the example, so here all the notation will same. This yellow color uh, rectangular boxes are basically showing the various positions of digits, and this 101 and 01, these are basically representing your binary digits. And if we talk about the various weights of different positions, so weights would have been calculated as 2 to the power 0. So 2 to the power 0 weight turns out to be 1. So here the position is your 1 and weight would have been calculated as 2 to the power 1, that is its weight turns out to be 2. And similarly this position, second position's weight would have been calculated as 2 to the power 2, that is equal to your 4. So these upper portion, they are basically representing the weights at different positions of your digits. So magnitude would have been calculated again with the help of similar formula, 1 into 2 to the power 2 plus 0 into 2 to the power 1. So as we had discussed that this 1, 0, 1, these are representing the bits that we have used here, 101 the bit value, and this is basically representing the positional weight or the weight at different positions. So simply um, performing this sort of operation, we will be having this sort of outcome, that is 101.01 to the base 2. And when we will going to convert it into the decimal, so its decimal equivalent turns out to be 5.25 to the base 10. So this binary number system, when we will get converted into your decimal number system, we will be getting this, its magnitude turns out to be 5.25. So this also we will going to discuss when we will going to describe the conversion from decimal to binary and binary to decimal. What we will going to call different group of bits. So if we group 4 number of bits together, so the combination of these 4 bits would have been called as your nibble, whereas the combination of 8 bits, that would have been called as your bytes. So this is just only notation by which we will going to call by which we are giving a different name to the group of different number of bits. So if there are 4 number of bits in a group, then we will going to call them as a nibble, and if there are 8 number of bits, then we will going to call them as a byte. So now hexadecimal number system. So in hexadecimal number systems, base is equal to 16. So it means we can use 16 distinct digits, or we could say that 16 different digits would have been used to signify your hexadecimal number system. So what are these 16 digits? 0 to up to 9. So this is similar in case of your decimal number systems. So since in your hexadecimal number systems we have to use 16 distinct digits, so what are they? So this is representing your A means 10, B means 11, C means 12, D means 13, E means 14, and F means 15. So if we talk about different distinct digits, so there has to be 16 digits, and from 0 to 15 we could have used. So for representing 10 we are using this A, for representing 11 we are using B, and so on. So here also again, as we have discussed 3 different sort of number systems, so this fourth one is also the same. So this yellow color rectangular shapes basically representing the different positions. This is representing the different number of digits that we are using, that is your 1, E, 5, 7, A. So after this particular decimal point, this is representing your decimal points, or you could say your fraction part. This is representing your fraction part, and this is representing your integer part. So again, if we need to calculate the weights of distinct values or distinct positions, so again, since the base is 16 and its position is 0, so its weight, the weight of this particular position turns out to be 16 to the power 0, that is equal to 1. And similarly, this position is 1 and the weight of this particular position is base to the power of position, that is 16 to the power 1, that is we are left with your 16, and this weight, the weight of this particular position would have been calculated 16 to the power 2, that is your 256. So these are basically 1, 16, 256, or you could say your 1 upon 16 and 1 over 256. So these are basically representing the weights of distinguished positions, and this is basically representing 1E5 7A. These representings are different number of bits that are lying at these positions. So how we will going to evaluate the weight of this particular position? That is, we'll again going to apply the similar sort of formula. That is, the magnitude would have been calculated as 1 into 16 to the power 2. So here 1, 14, 5, 7, 10, this blue color basically representing distinct digits, whereas this 16 to the power 2, 16 is representing its base, and 2 or these red colors blocks basically representing its distinguished positions. So when we will going to evaluate them, we will going to have this 485.4765625, which is your decimal equivalent of this hexadecimal number systems, whereas this hexadecimal number would have been calculated as 1E5.7A to the base of 16. So again, I'm again saying that when we will going to convert this hexadecimal number system, we will going to get this decimal equivalent, so which is basically showing the exact weight or magnitude of the signal. So this we will going to discuss when we will going to describe about the various conversion of number systems. So this particular slide is showing the various powers of 2, and what is so peculiar or specific about power of 2. So this is simple. N is representing the index values, or you could say that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n is equal to 14, and this is signifying 2 to the power n. That means 2 to the power 0 is equivalent to 1, 2 to the power 1 is equivalent to 2, and in the similar fashion 2 to the power 4 is equal to 16, 2 to the power 10 is equal to 1024, 2 to the power 12 is 4096. So why we have mentioned this particular slide? Just to give you a small overview about your kilo, mega, giga and tera. So 2 to the power 10 is equivalent to your kilo, 2 to the power 20 is signifying your mega, 2 to the power 30 is representing your giga, and 2 to the power 40 is representing as your tera. So this particular slide is just to give you a brief idea about when you have to discuss or you have to deal with several file size. Suppose that 2 to the power 20 means we are talking about MBs or megabits, whereas 2 to the power 30 we are talking about GBs, and 2 to the power 40 we are talking about TBs. So whenever we need to mention the storage of your hard disk, we are using this terabytes. 2 terabytes or 4 terabytes, 8 terabytes are very common strength of hard disk that would have been used nowadays, whereas in GBs you have already know about the file size, that movie file size is approximately equivalent to 1 GB or 2 GB, whereas this M is representing the megabits, that is 2 to the power 20. So what do I mean by that? If we are talking about the file size is 1 kilobytes, so it is basic 1 kilobits, so it is basically going to have 1024 number of bits. So 1024 bits is equivalent to or would have been called as your kilobits. So one more thing I would like to mention about it, 2 to the power 10 is equivalent to kilo. So this is your kilo. So when it is mentioning kilo, it means we are talking about 2 to the power 10. So second representation, that is if we talk about your file size, it is generally in kilobytes, KB in full or MB in full. So if if file size would have been given as like your this one, so it means KB means kilo, and here B is representing bytes. So 1 bytes is equivalent to 8 number of bits. So here the exact size turns out to be 1024 into 8 number of bits. So this is representing in terms of bits, whereas if your file size would have been mentioned like as your KB, so this is simply signifying that it is using suppose file size would have been given as 1 k small b, it means this file is containing 1024 number of bits. So please keep in mind this your capital B and this about your small b. So how we will going to perform different arithmetic operations on these numbers. So here first operation is your addition operation. That is how we will going to add two decimal numbers in your decimal number systems. So as this is signifying, so here is the key term. So whenever the value of the summation of those of two digits is greater than or equal to base, then we will going to put a carry. So how we will going to perform this decimal addition? 5 plus 5 we will be having 10. So 10 is equal to your base. It means we have to give one carry to the next digit. So 5 plus 5. So at unitary places we will be having 0 and we will have given your 1 as a carry. Again 5 plus 5, 10 plus 1, that is equivalent to your 11. So again 11 is greater than 10. So we have put unitary digit 1 here and we have put 1 as a carry. So we are left with this your 110. So this is how we need to perform this decimal addition. Here one more point, just I forgot to mention that whenever the value of 10, which is the base of your decimal number system, 10 is greater than or equal to base, then we have to subtract the base value, and whatever digits we are left with we have to put that here, and the rest of the bit we need to give backward as a carry. So just again look in the same example as we have mentioned, 5 plus 5, 10. So 10 is greater than or equal to base, since both are same. So we just, when we're going to subtract 10 minus 10, so we are left with this 0 and we're going to give 1 as a carry. Again in the next phase, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 1, 11. So here also we will be having 11 which is greater than 10. Then when we are going to subtract 10 from the 11, we are left with this digit 1 and 1 as a carry, and we have get this answer, that is your 110. So this is how we will going to perform our decimal addition. So now this particular slide is showing how we are going to perform binary addition. So here also the whole formula will going to remain same, that is I am talking about the base value. Whenever the summation value is exceeds then your base, then we need to apply the similar formula as we have applied in our last example. So suppose these are two numbers, that is the binary equivalent of 61 turns out to be this tetra 101, and the binary equivalent of 23 will be having 10111. So when we are going to add up, then how we are going to perform this addition operation? 1 plus 1 that is your 2, and 2 is greater than or equal to, you could say, your base. So when we are going to subtract 2 minus 2, we are left with this 0 and again carry 1. Then this carry 1 plus 0 plus 1, again we will be having 2, and 2, when we are going to subtract this added value from the base, we are left with again 2 minus 2, that is equal to 0, and then again carry 1, then again 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is your 3, and when you are going to subtract the base value 2 from this 3, you are left with this 1 and again a carry 1, then 1 plus 1 again 2, and 2 minus 2 we will be having this 0 and again this carry 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is your 3. So 3 is greater than its base value, or you could say that its base value, which is equal to 2. So 3 minus 2, you are left with this your 1, and again you will be having this 1 as a carry. 1 plus 1, that is your 2, which is greater than or equal to the base value, that is your 2. So when we are going to subtract 2 from 2, you are left with this 0 and again carry 1. So this basically signifying its complete binary 2 addition outcome, that is 1010100. So its decimal equivalent turns out to be 84. So you can easily verify that. So please keep in mind, whenever you are doing or performing any sort of addition in any number system, you need to keep in mind, if the summation of any two digit is greater than or equal to its base value, then you need to subtract the base value, and whatever digit you are left with, you need to write it here and then put 1 as a carry to the next bit. So this is how we will going to perform binary addition operation. So now we will going to discuss about your binary subtraction. So whenever we will going to perform subtraction, then we need to take the borrow a base when needed. So obviously when we will going to need that, when the number that we will going to subtract is greater than the number from which we are subtracting that number, then only we need a borrow. Otherwise we can easily subtract them as we generally perform our subtraction operation. So here the two numbers that we are taking is your 71 and its binary equivalent turns out to be 1001101, and we need to subtract 23 from this 77. So the binary equivalent of 23 would have been calculated as 10111. So as of now, if you don't know how you will going to convert your decimal to binary or binary to decimal, obviously we will going to cover them when we will going to discuss about the conversion of among different number systems. But as of now, if it is not clear to you, just consider them the series of 1 zeros and you need to subtract this number from this number. So how we will going to perform subtraction? 1 minus 1, obviously we can subtract 1 from and outcome turns out to be your 0. 0 minus 1, since we cannot subtract 1 from 0, so we need to take a borrow. So whenever you will going to take the borrow, so obviously the borrow turns out in terms of your base value. So if you are taking 1 from here, it basically signifying you are actually taking the value of 2, which is the value of its radix, or you could say your base. So from 2 you can easily subtract 1 and you are left with your 1. Then again at this place, since you have taken a borrow, so you will be having this value 0. So from 0, if you want to subtract this one, it is not possible. Again, we need to take a borrow from its previous digit. That is, again, we have taken a borrow. So it turns out to be 2. 2 minus 1 will be having 1. And again, at this place, this point, we are left with your 0. So from 0, we can subtract 0 and the outcome turns out to be 0. And in the similar manner, from here, when we are trying to subtract this 1 from this 0, it is not possible. So again we need to take the borrow from its previous digit, and borrow would have been come here in terms of 2. So 2 minus 1 turns out to be 1. So here again we will be having this. So here one point I have skipped. So whenever you will going to take the borrow from here also you will be having 0. So you cannot borrow anything from here. So this 0 will going to take a borrow from this one. So when you have taken this 1 as a borrow from here to here we will be having 2, and from this 2, 1 borrow would have get transferred to this particular digit. So we can have 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. That is again here at this particular position, when we have given 1 from here to here, we are left with this 1, and 1 minus nothing, that turns out to be 1, and here we have nothing since we have already given borrow to this particular digit. So 0 minus 0, we are left with this your 0. So this is the answer of your binary subtraction, that is equivalent to your 54 in decimal number system. So you can easily verify them. So now we are going to discuss about your binary multiplication. So to understand this multiplication operation, we have again taken an example. So the numbers are 10111 and 1010. So we could simply going to apply the similar multiplication operation that we generally perform, but here we need to understand them that the addition that would when we will going to perform multiplication, the addition would have been done as your binary addition. So again 0 multiplied with 1 will be having 0. So this complete all these positions will be having this 0. So when we're going to multiply with this complete digit with 1, so this digit would have been put down over here, that is your 10111. Then again we need to leave one place, and we have to put or multiply this 0 with this complete number, that is again whole complete 0, and when we're going to again multiply this number with this one, we'll be having this one. So when we're going to perform addition, that is 0, we have directly will be having 0, 0 plus 1, we'll be having 1 in here, then again 0 plus 1 plus 0, again we'll be having 1 over here, then 1 plus 1, so that turns out to be your 2, which is equal to your base or radix 2, so we have to subtract the value of base, that is 2 minus 2, that is we'll be having this 0, and there is a carry of 1, 1 plus 1, again we'll be having 2, and when we're going to subtract 2 from this 2, we are left with this 0 and 1 as a carry, then 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 3, which is again greater than your radix or base value. So 3 minus 2, we will be having this 1 and 1 as a carry. So 1 plus 0 plus 0, that is your 1, and again this is your 1. So please keep in mind that multiplication operation would have been performed in the similar manner as we had learned from our childhood, but please keep in mind whenever we're going to perform this addition, that addition would be a binary addition as we have discussed. So there also we need to keep in mind, if the summation or subtraction case as we have discussed earlier, that is if the summation value or the addition value of different digits is greater than or equal to radix, we just have to subtract the radix value or base value, and whatever digits we are left with, we have to put that or write that digit, and we have to put one digit as the carry to its previous digit. So this is what we have to perform. So these are the references. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.